Affectionately known as the Mother City, Cape Town is a stunning city in South Africa and is a popular tourist destination. I've had the privilege of visiting this part of the world a few times during my visits to South Africa to see family, and I can vouch that this place is beyond beautiful. However, as with any place in the world, there is a dark side, and it was seen in 2015 when members of a family in Stellenbosch, just outside of Cape Town, were killed with an axe. 2 remaining members survived, but one of them wasn't as innocent as it seemed. This is the sinister case of the Van Breda family murders.
My family and we were attacked.
Martin and 𝓬𝓮𝓷𝓻𝓲 van Breda lived in South Africa and had 3 children, Rudy in 1992, Henry in 1994, and Marley in 1998. Martin was a multi-millionaire who was involved in management of several companies, but despite this, he was seen as a good man and was well liked. The family moved to Perth in Australia in and around 2005 for Martin's work, as he was involved with the Australian branch of the business, 𝓗𝓮𝓷𝓻𝓲. However, in 2014, Martin, 𝓬𝓮𝓷𝓻𝓲 and Marley moved back to South Africa and into a gorgeous house in the Zalze Golf Estate in Stellenbosch. Rudy and Henry were both still in university in Australia at the time, but they soon followed their parents and moved into their home in South Africa. This gated community was known to be an incredibly safe area with access only being granted to those who had key cards. This makes what happened next look slightly suspicious. On the 27th of January 2015, Henry van Breda called the emergency services due to an attack in the family home. In his account of events, Henry claimed that he heard noises in the house in the early hours of the morning and found an intruder axing his brother in the head. Henry then called for help, which is when his dad tried to stop the attacker and was axed himself. The masked man left the room, then attacked Henry's mum and sister, leaving Henry with very little injuries before leaving the house. Henry attempted to call his girlfriend before Googling the emergency services number. He didn't call the number and instead went upstairs to find that his sister Marley was still barely alive. At this point, he claims he passed out, and when he came to, he Googled the emergency services number again, before using the family phone to call the number.
Well, Stephen, what is your emergency?
I need an ambulance. Lots of,
Need an ambulance?
Yes, please.
What's your name, sir?
Henry van Breda.
Paramedics arrived and described the blood flowing down the stairs like a waterfall.
The moment you walk upstairs, you see the blood spatter and stuff, and then you think to yourself, what happened here? What went on?
Detective Sergeant Marlon Apollos has been a policeman for 14 years, and he was about to step into the biggest case of his career.
Yeah, to get a whole family axed dead to death, it is difficult. You wouldn't expect a crime like this to happen in a security complex in a place like Stellenbosch.
Martin, 𝓬𝓮𝓷𝓻𝓲 and Rudy were all pronounced dead at the scene, but Marley was transported to hospital and despite her major head injuries, she survived. Unfortunately though, she was left with retrograde amnesia, meaning she remembered nothing of the attack. This left Henry as the only witness of the crime. In June 2016, the police gained a warrant for Henry's arrest for the murder of his 3 family members and attempted murder of his sister, and he surrendered himself to them. His trial began in April 2017 with the prosecution arguing that his motive for the crime was due to his allowance being cut off by his parents. They had supposedly found out that he had been taking drugs, and so they withdrew financial help until he got himself together. The drugs he was taking are known to induce violence, so it wasn't unlikely that this, combined with the financial motive, caused him to carry out this attack. The court also found that his injuries were purely self-inflicted, to make it look like an outsider had attacked the family that night.
They were all very superficial. They barely broke the skin. They were uniform, so they were similar in nature. They had a similar appearance. It looked as if it could have been inflicted with the same weapon. So you can see the bandage. It's not blood-soaked.
Henry's injuries were analysed by forensic pathologist Dr. 𝓬𝓮𝓼𝓮.
You know, if you think you were just involved in an altercation, a physical fight, a struggle for life and death, you know, people holding onto each other, you would maybe expect to see bruises around the forearms, around the upper arm, as you're pulling and pushing, but nothing.
Despite the defence's attempts at painting Henry as the victim, Judge Suraj Desai found him guilty and sentenced him to 3 counts of life in prison, 15 years for attempted murder and 12 months for obstruction of justice, all to be served concurrently. Today, 𝓗𝓮𝓷𝓻𝓲 is behind bars in 𝓑𝓻𝓮𝓵 prison in 𝓗𝓮 after being transferred from 𝓑𝓻𝓮𝓵 Correctional Centre in Paarl due to an attack by a fellow prisoner. He attempted to appeal his sentence in 2018, but was denied by the court. His family stuck by him during the trial, saying that he was innocent and that he wasn't addicted to drugs or substances.
Is it possible that it's just too terrible to accept that Henry did do this?
It could be that it's too terrible to contemplate. However, nothing in my mind can think that it was possible or reasonable. There is no motive in my mind.
People say Marley van Breda has done remarkably well despite all the odds, and even went back to school in June 2017. She didn't attend any of Henry's court hearings, and whilst we don't know exactly how she feels about the whole situation, her legal team have claimed she found Henry's arrest to be very distressing. I hope she continues to heal both mentally and physically from the attack, and lives a long and successful life. So what do you think happened? Was there really an intruder who broke into the van Breda household in 2015, killing 3 people? Or was it the work of Henry himself? The only person who really knows what actually happened that night is him, and I have a funny feeling he won't admit the truth for a long time yet.